Alright, I'm here with my parents, Jeremy and Lucinda Jackson, and we're going to talk about their meeting and their marriage, the beginning at least. And well, so I will, for the sake of the ignorant, where did you meet?
We met in the hallway of Chalet Les Millers, the headquarters of L'Abri, at the very end of August 2000 and
no, 19...
that's
2000.
right.
The wrong
I'm the
century. August 1960.
1962.
Yes. In the hallway.
Yeah, because I had been told by my good friend Jonathan Bragdon that the matchmaker-in-chief, Edith Schaefer, thought that her nephew Jonathan and I myself would make a good match.
No, her niece was...
Well, a friendship match.
Jonathan was
a good
already
friendship match.
A good friendship match. And
what?
Edith announced that she thought Lucinda would be a good match for Jeremy. So Jonathan, being a good chauvinistic friend, warned Jeremy that Lucinda was to watch out for.
But I stepped back into the shadows of the hallway on the second floor of the chalet, and in a good shady vantage point in order to determine how unlikely or
likely,
or likely, I suppose, this advance warning, no, not warning, this prophecy or prediction had any substance. And with relief I saw that it didn't, because what appeared at the end of the hallway as Lucinda, this girl from Watertown, New York, was standing ready to come into the chalet. What I saw was a teenage Bobby Soxer. In fact, I thought, in a sort of mild sort of way, I thought, is that what she thinks I'm good for? Well, I was a worker at L'Abri, which means I was more or less always on duty for guests and so on. And one of the tasks I was very good at, because I'd been well trained by my sister Gillian in England, was to wash the dishes. And since a lot of activities in L'Abri centered around food, it was not surprising that I found myself often in the kitchen with somebody, and that somebody seemed to be the new resident, Lucinda. And at first I was very taciturn, didn't say anything much, and I think unless I'm making this up, I think I heard probably from Jonathan that my reputation in the kitchen was of silence, not, which of course was my way of keeping a distance. However, turned out that the conversation did slowly happen. I'm not quite sure how, although I do remember that was becoming fairly impressed by her taste in good films, good cinema, and I think also books. So I was surprised that this young girl should know so much.
Odd Man Out. I
Odd
remember
Man Out.
discussing
That's it.
Odd Man Out.
Yeah, a very, very fine film. And so, having had the ice broken over that, it then became possible to talk about other things. So that was the beginning of a friendship.
So I remember that in the kitchen at Les Malaises, we had a scripture calendar, and there'd be the day in large writing, the date, and then a scripture. So one day I was looking at this calendar, and Dad walked by and remarked, "Oh, there's your holiday." And I said, "Pardon?" He said, "What Saint? Did you? But it's a Saint Saint Bartholomew's Day Massacre. Today's the anniversary of the Saint Bartholomew's Massacre. So go ahead."
The 24th of August is the anniversary for the massacre of Saint Bartholomew in Paris, where a very large number of Huguenots were slaughtered.
Right in the center of a courtyard, right?
Yeah.
When a wedding was taking place.
A very, very important wedding.
So that gives you an idea of our difficulty in communicating, even when Dad would let down his guard
And actually say
still
something.
couldn't really understand. But what he had to say was worth hearing. And I actually had been to that spot in Paris, which I did not associate with the date, but I went there with my uncle, Francis Schaeffer, who, when he took you anywhere in a city, had thoroughly researched what happened where. And so he led me to this spot and said, "Here the blood of Huguenots was spilled on these cobblestones at the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre." And so when Dad said that, I immediately, that's something I know.
So were you impressed that she responded as if she knew what you were talking about?
I wouldn't say impressed so much as it's being, it had become a normal part of our relationship to talk about serious things. So that we wouldn't be so much impressed by
One.
by what?
By one incident.
By one example.
So what year was that? What year was the St.
That was
Bartholomew's Day
August 24th.
Massacre? August 24th?
1574
That's
or 1572.
That strikes a bell with me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
years later, when we visited Jillian, my daughter, in Paris, we went there and we also saw, learned more about the church where the bells were rung to signal the beginning of this attack on the Huguenots. And Colbert
Pretty horrible.
was
The
defenestrated.
the leading Huguenot of one of the princely leaders, he was Lucinda so defenestrated, thrown out the window,
Mm-hmm.
and many others were too.
Oh, well, that's, here we are talking about a love story.
Well, you could have another episode of that, because soon after that I left L'Abri to go to England for my annual holiday,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd always go back to England at the end of August, thereabouts.
But you were teaching at a school at that point, correct?
No, I
or
wasn't.
no?
I was then, ever since, let's see, the end of the school year,
Mm-hmm.
where I had been teaching,
Mm-hmm.
would have been June, July,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So I left for England.
Go ahead, Dad.
Oh, I left for England, and on my usual conveyance, which was a sleeping car,
Mm-hmm.
and
No, you didn't. No, you left with John.
I know John Watkinson. I was coming to that.
Oh, you didn't go in a sleeping car.
That's right, I didn't.
You
That's
went.
right, I didn't.
You went camping. He had a car
Yeah,
and a tent or
a
something
tent. Yeah,
arrangement.
So from Switzerland to
just into England.
England, you were
Yeah, through
by
France.
car with a tenting, camping on the way.
Yeah, right. And
Wasn't it good?
and you can remember better the next part of this. Wasn't you sent
On
a
the
post-
camping trip, you were flooded out. Anyway, but you made it to England, and you met with Jonathan Stanfield, and talked about taping.
Really?
Yep.
Where was this?
On Manchester when you were at home in England,
Taping as in...
because he
Tape recorder.
helped.
Old-fashioned
He helped
recording
do.
device.
He helped to do reel-to-reel recording of Francis Schaeffer. Probably those recordings are still have been transferred to more modern
You were talking about-
technology.
seem to be talking. I didn't do that in England. Wasn't it still in Switzerland?
No, you
No?
did it with, because you wrote me that you had met with Jonathan Stanfield, who was an unknown name to me at the time. But you wrote me a letter that said Humperdinck Lucinda,
Humperdinck Lucinda.
which was under the influence of probably overstimulating conversation with technology. Anyway, Dad was very attached to his toast making, and we had had a lot of trouble in the kitchen at Les Milles with the toaster. So this takes you back quite a few years. We actually got someone, someone went somewhere with the toaster and had it repaired. So because of the amount of trouble this had caused to Dad, I wrote him a postcard to 9 Circular Road saying, "Dear Jeremy, you can come back, the toaster's fixed now."
Presumptuous.
So this actually this fulfilled and piqued his interest, his growing interest.
She's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
This is good.
So then, let's see. Meanwhile, Lucinda was getting ready to.
Hold on a minute.
Should we keep going? Or
Yeah, keep going while I deal with that.
I will not take a phone call.
Lucinda?
All of them.
No, Lucinda was preparing to go to the University of Lausanne, for which purpose I had come to Switzerland to study French at the École des Étrangers at the University of Lausanne, which was a preparatory course for teaching French. And so that was what my education was going to consist of. So the university matriculated in October, so I was getting ready to do that.
And so I'd see Lucinda at weekends. We were becoming somewhat more known to each other than in the past. We found ourselves going for walks on the Panay Road, P-A-N-E-X. Panay Road was a nice moonlit walk.
And there was a dog involved, Clairon.
Clairon, owned by, I think owned by Ranald Macaulay.
I thought it was owned by Frankie, but anyway, it never had walks much. Unless we took it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, shall we take the dog?
Utilitarian as well as romantic.
And got to the point of actually telephoning, or you telephoned me. You lived in a small boarding house with the Varidels.
I lived rented a room from a Swiss family in Lausanne in the sort of suburbs. La Rosière.
And
I would normally call from a payphone, which was by the trolley stop in La Rosière. And just occasionally, Jeremy would phone me at the Varidels. So one of his famous instances of Swiss behavior
was this, Monsieur. The phone rang, I suppose.
You phoned,
I phoned.
which was rare.
Mr. Varidel, Monsieur Varidel, picked up the phone, and in the usual cold Swiss fashion,
Ask for me. You
Mm-hmm.
asked for me.
no, I asked for you,
Yeah.
and in his somewhat cold Swiss fashion, managed to say that he
C'est
would.
pas poli.
No,
Oh.
no. Was that addressed to? Was that said by him to me? He
C'est
said
pas
to me,
poli?
because it's after 9 o'clock at night, and he said, "C'est pas poli, monsieur. It's not polite, monsieur, to call like this." Was Wendy sharing that lodging? Yeah.
So there's a picture here of our friend Wendy Hendricks, Gwendolyn Augusta Hendricks, who comes into our story later because she was attending the University of Pennsylvania, and so we got to know her and her family, so her identity comes into the story later. But there's a picture of Wendy and Dad and me standing on the steps.
Is this it?
Yes,
Okay.
at Les Millets. I don't know where you have to put this gate.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Yeah.
bring it right up. So this is Wendy and Mom and Dad at Le Brie,
Yes.
essentially. So yes.
So that's
Les
the
Millets.
largest chalet, Les Millets, and Wendy
And there's
is-
another man in the picture.
Derek.
Derek.
Lainsmith,
Lainsmith.
Margot's husband, who had come to
Oh,
Switzerland
okay.
from.
So is this pre-engagement? Do you know when this photo was taken then?
Oh yeah, that was pre-engagement.
Or pre-marriage at least. Are these also from that?
Well, it's from this era. This might be the spring.
Now this is up beneath the cathedral, Lausanne Cathedral.
I see Mom in the green coat
That's
in the
right.
edge.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember whether these are the move on.
So this is what, were you walking around taking photos at, or someone was?
No,
I
we
don't know.
couldn't afford that.
So someone was, not January
Probably Wendy, unless that's from Wendy.
64, it says. January 64, which is later. Because you were married in 63.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, well, they might not have been developed
Yeah.
until later. And
So
what's
this
that?
could be the view from Beausoleil.
Maybe.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
So that's farther up from at the
Beausoleil
Okay.
being the school where
in the
Dad taught.
valley was Aigle, and that was the main train stop. And then to get to Weymouth, you had to take a postal bus at that time. So it went up these hairpin turns, up and up and up to Weymouth, and then it kept going up and up and up to Chessier, and then to Villars. And Villars was the bigger place and had a big skiing,
Tourist.
yeah, a resort kind of place. And that's where Beausoleil was. So this is also a vignette from our early time together. When at certain times, if the snow just snowed right and it worked out, they wouldn't plow that road going down from Weymouth or down from Villars. And they would just not plow it, and you could sled that road.
Right.
So a moonlight sled on that road was really something.
Scary.
Scary.
We're going zooming down.
But where were weren't there turns?
Yeah, you had to.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you're
It's like that.
there isn't much control, even though they were good luge. They were, and the more that experience you had, the better. But one night, that had not happened. But there was snow. But there was a smaller side road that you could take. And so Wendy and Dad and I went out, and somehow I think Wendy and Dad were on the same sled, and I was on another sled with someone else. Anyway, they came down that back road
Into Weymouth.
Yeah.
And I realized we were going faster than ever